Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Colorado Avalanche franchise mode. So in last episode we had the second round of the playoffs and we took on these San Jose Sharks. We managed to sweep them in 4 games, and now we're up against the Detroit Red Wings in the conference finals. Hopefully this time around we can make it to the Stanley Cup finals, because like Detroit, just they have a really old roster, but they have like a really deep core, because most of their offensive players are not below an 83, except for Steve Yzerman, who's dropping off. So first period, and it is 2-2 offensive series now. So Dead Marsh, our player, scores, but then Hayduk answers for us. Ward gives them a goal from Chris Drury, who hadn't came through, I don't think, yet in the playoffs. So that's great to see. Hopefully we could get better offensive stats for us next period, and hopefully we could play better defensively. Second period, and it's 4-3 for us. Good job, boys. Donovan and Fleury. But once again, Adam Denmarsh scores goals, so it seems like Adam Denmarsh is kind of trying to bite us in the ass, to the fact because I let him go to free agency last year, even though I could have probably re-signed him. But he's looking to probably redeem himself, because like he wasn't the greatest player with us. Like he had like a couple good seasons, but still he was kind of not anything we needed, especially with our prospect pool. Can we just lock this down, please? There you go. Steve Sullivan makes it 5-3, and our offense is continuing to hum after last round, and we are going to take a 1-0. This is pretty huge. 6-3 final. Sullivan had an empty netter as well. So Hayduk from Sakic and Fleury, Drury from Sullivan and Boulos, and then Donovan from Deneen and Yell, Fleury from Hayduk, Sullivan from Boulos and Drury, and Sullivan from Drury and Hayduk. So despite having 2 big injuries in Forsberg and Miller, we managed to come through on our depth. So our second line coming through with a combined total of 9 points in that game, because each player had 3 points. So hopefully it can continue into the second game, not second round. Just because like I know for a fact that sometimes in these type of things, like you play really good in your game number 1, but then afterwards, like if your team had a really good offensive first game, they kind of dry up in the second game. So hopefully that's not what happens here. Game number 2, still on home ice. Can we take a 2-0 series lead on these pesky ass Detroit Red Wings? First period, and it is scoreless. So this time around, no goals after 1. Shots are 13-9 in favor of us. Probably 2 fights, I would assume. Second period, and it's 1-0 us. Adam Foote beating Chris, but it is 1-0 for us. Let's see if we could come through with another goal here in the third. And Jeff's team up. Power play, 5-on-3, and we don't score on it. Final 10 minutes of this third period. Penalty kill. Nicely done. Are we going to go to overtime here in game number 2? Who is going to be an OT hero? We don't obviously have Forsberg because he's out with an injury till July. So let's hope. Well, we don't really care who it is on our team, but let's just go with Burnaby Joe. Come on. Lead your team to another victory, please. Halfway through this first overtime period, and there's a goal, and it is Chris Drury, who had a very good first game of the series, gives us a 2-0 series lead. So that is huge. On a team like Detroit to have a 2-0 series lead, that's really huge. But hopefully, like, we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, because Detroit's probably... So Foote from Donovan and Yell, and Drury from Lefebvre and Sullivan. So yeah, that second line's just been really good this round so far, and Patrick Waugh has been a brick after that second game at least. So he gets first star, Osgood the second star, and Drury the third. Okay, so we obviously want to keep on doing this in Detroit, but hopefully this time around, like hopefully we don't do what we did in game 1, where we let them score 2 goals in the first, because that's kind of tough to come back from usually. So game number 3 against the toughest team probably in this league. Let's see if we could take a 3-0 stranglehold. First period, and it's 1-0 us. Good job, boys. Sullivan beating Osgood. We're outshooting him 10-8, but they have no answers for us just yet. Second period, and 3-1. Wow. Yeah, that second line is coming through. Sullivan makes it 2-0, and then Sullivan makes it 3-0. Sean Burke's now in net for some reason, and then David Viborny is going to break Patrick Waugh's shutout. So we have a 2-goal advantage in this third. Come on, boys, let's just get a couple more just to play it safe, because you never know with Detroit. Power play, but we don't score on it. Final 10 minutes of this third period. Minutes, and there's a goal from Burnaby Joe. We are going to be taking... Yeah, we're going to be taking a 3-0 series lead on a team that I thought was going to go to all. I've made it 4-2 late, but Hayduk with another goal, and it's a 5-2 final. So its offense, despite being so deep, they just have not been there. Sullivan had a natural hat trick, actually, I just realized too. Sullivan with a natural hat trick. Drury picking up 3 more assists. Damn. And then Sakic as well with a goal, and Hayduk with a goal. So 3 stars, Sullivan the first star, Hayduk the second star, and Drury the third. So that line literally has been dynamite in this round. It's been really good this round. So first round, I think we had, what was it? It wasn't our top line that was producing. It was like our third line, I think, or second line. And now our second line is really producing. Last round, it was our first line. So like all of our depth is kind of coming through in this playoff. Two key players. So Boston has a 2-1 series lead on New Jersey currently, who is the defending Stanley Cup champions, I think. So here we go. Let's get into game number 4 at Joe Louis Arena. Let's see if we could sweep Detroit and advance to our first Stanley Cup Finals. We're going to do a real-time simulation this time around, just give a chance to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. Why not? And this episode's going really quick, so I just don't want to really have really short episodes. Like I would rather have. And it is going to be scoreless again. 4. Step up, especially against a team like Jeff Sanderson breaks Patrick Waugh's shutout, but it's still a 3-1 lead going into this third. Are we going to head to Stanley Cup Finals? Which says yes. We've only lost 2 games so far in the playoffs. Fedorov makes it a 4-2 game. But we are off to the Stanley Cup Finals. We somehow sweep the Detroit Red Wings. Wow. This has been a great run so far. Fleury from Hayduk and Lefebvre. Bullis from Drury and Sullivan. Hayduk from Sullivan and Drury. And then Avalanche from Sullivan and Foote. So yeah, that second line, it was just insane that round. Because Sullivan had like multiple point games as well. Same with Hayduk, same with Drury. Like those 3 guys have been really great. Like look at that, Hayduk 15 points in 14 games now. Let's take a look at our player stats before we see who we're up against in the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's take a look. 15 points for Sullivan and Hayduk. Drury's got 12 points. Those guys have been really good in the last 3 games, or 4 games I should say. Sakic and Fleury 11 points, Ozlin points, Deneen 7 points. Yeah, we've got really good depth scoring in this playoff run. Hopefully it continues in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like hopefully Broder, if we play him, doesn't stone us like cold, like because that team is a really good defensive team. Patrick Waugh 12-2, a 934 save percentage, and a 1.84 goals against average. Okay, so now let's see who we're gonna go up against in the Stanley Cup Finals. I didn't even check our AHL team. Is it still playing? Yeah, our AHL team's in the conference finals as well. Damn, we might have chances for both of these teams to do really good. So let's see who we're up against in the Cup Finals as we go for our first Stanley Cup. And it's going to be the Boston Bruins. So we don't have a New Jersey in the Stanley Cup Finals, but we have Boston. So Joe Thornton going to the Stanley Cup Finals. And it's, I think 2U used to like Colorado as well, but because Adam Denmarsh. But anyways, though, Boston and Colorado for the Stanley Cup. We have home ice in the Stanley Cup Finals, which is huge, but this should be interesting. Let's take a look at their lines. I don't even know what they have anymore because they've probably made changes. So Kristich, Joe Thornton up to a 92. Wow. Sergei Samsonov, Anderson Carter, Jason Allison still, Steve Hines, PJ Axelson, Mike Ricci, Bill Lindsay. So those two guys are different. Lacroix, or Eric Lacroix if you want to say that. Marty McInnis back in Boston, and Tyler Wright. So they have like 5 players on this offensive core that weren't there in their first year, but otherwise they have still a lot of their same players. Defensively, Hal Gill and Jason Smith, Darren Van Imp and Yanni Laukinen, Jason Cullimore and Todd Simpson. So their defensive course changed up a lot more because they only got like 2 guys, Van Imp and Gill, still from their original team, but still pretty good nonetheless. Goaltending wise, Jose Theodore. How has Jose Theodore gotten to the Cup Finals? I don't know. And then Robbie Tallis, who actually was with Boston in year number 1, but then we had him in year number 2, and then he's now back in Boston again. And in scratch, they have Rich Pilon, Brent Fedek, and James Black. So overall wise, I'm actually really scared of their team as well. They also have really good depth on offense for the most part. Their defense is also pretty strong. They don't have a really good stud defenseman, but still good. And then goaltending is where they're really weak, though. That's probably where we could outclass them if Patrick Wall outplays Theodore. And yeah, depth-wise, we're around the same. So I think it just comes down if we could stop the puck, if Patrick Wall could play good and shut out their offensive core. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Colorado Avalanche franchise mode. So next episode, we will take it to the Stanley Cup Finals, where we look for our first Stanley Cup against the Boston Bruins. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.